Hey everybody, it's Rob the Backyard Gardener, and I thought today I would just take a few minutes and show you how you can turn those sweet potatoes with eyes into more sweet potatoes. So I'm going to be doing this on a small scale, but bottom line is, if you grow organically, your potatoes are not going to be sprayed with any non-organic chemicals inhibiting them from growing eyes or sprouts. And I wanted to show you a couple examples. I've got some sweet potatoes here that I have stored for about 4 or 5 months that just started to get their sprouts, and I let the sprouts grow longer and longer and longer because, as you know, these sprouts will turn into large sweet potato plants and vines that will produce even more potatoes. And it's pretty simple how to do this, guys. This is just a quick 2-minute tip. All you got to do is just pull off the eye that's on there, right there, and if you add this to water, it will sprout roots from here, and from those roots you can grow sweet potatoes. So again, very easy to do. All you have to do is just pull off the eye with the sprout, and you can do that for several of these. And the shorter ones I actually leave on there until I go to use a sweet potato. Or if the sweet potato is bad, then I leave it on there until it's long enough to put into a cup of water and actually grow roots without suffocating the plant. So here's 3 good examples here. These are all sprouts that are long enough, and if I put them in a glass of water, within 2 weeks we'll have tons of roots. Now I've already saved the time and fast forwarded. Here's sprouts that I pulled off of sweet potatoes literally 2 weeks ago. Actually 2 weeks and 2 days. And I probably needed to separate them earlier. But the next step here is, once they get to this stage with all these roots, is you'll want to separate each one of these slips, and you can do so just like this. They come apart pretty easy. And as you see, there's roots all along these. So it's ready to go into the ground or into some soil or into a pot, whatever you prefer. So what I'm going to do next is get all of these guys into the ground, because tonight it's supposed to rain and the next several nights it's supposed to rain, and I want to give a chance for these roots to establish themselves without the sun just baking down on them. So I went ahead and separated all those slips you saw in the jar by different sizes. I've got several large ones here now, and then we've got several medium-sized ones, and we even got some little baby eyes that grew pretty good. And now I don't have enough space to grow all these slips. Each one of these sweet potato slip vines will end up producing foliage that can cover an area that's probably 3 by 5 feet and more if I don't control it. So 15 square foot per plant, that's a lot. Now I don't mind crowding them a little bit because I like to utilize my small garden space to get as much potatoes into one area as possible. But you gotta remember, it's late in the season for me. I only have about 5 months before my first frost, maybe 6 months. These take 5 to 6 months to go from slip to potato. Good news is, after the first frost is when you want to dig them up anyway. So that being said, I got to be strategic where I put them. I won't have time to rebury the vines, because as you know, as these plants vine out, you can rebury them all along these top parts. As a matter of fact, if I zoom in now, you can see the root nodes right there. These plants already wanted to go ahead and send down more roots further down or further up the shoot, if you will, or the stalk. So that being said, I digress. I'm going to get these into the ground now. I'll find a good spot. I'll bring you in close for a couple of the plant jobs, but at this point I don't need this many slips. I'll probably end up potting some as well as putting some in the ground. So I have some space in my greenhouse. All I'm doing is filling a few spots here, just clearing away the mulch, and then jamming my fingers down pretty deep, just trying to get the roots to be covered in soil, pushing the soil back around them. Pretty basic stuff. And then adding the mulch back in over top. These are actually probably only 10 inches, maybe 12 inches apart. And that's ideal because even though these vines will interlap, the potato cluster will mostly be centered around these initial roots, because like I said, I'm not going to be reburying all the vines. We don't have enough time in the season to do so. So I'm going to continue to get these slips that I have here into the ground over here, and once I'm done, I'll show you the final product. So they're not much to look at right now. I know, we just got them in the ground. It's a little bit more sunnier than I thought. Of course, as you know, as I start planting them into the ground, the sun comes out, the clouds go away. But Either way, it's supposed to be partly cloudy most of the day with a lot of sun, thunderstorms, and overcast the next couple of days, which will give these guys a good start. Plus, there's gonna be a little bit of shock. They went from water to soil and to sunlight. So for a quick recap, don't just toss away those old sweet potatoes that have sprouts or eyes on them. Let them grow for a little bit. Once they get about 3 or 4 inches tall, throw them in some water after you pull them off the potatoes. Once they're rooted in a couple of weeks, you can go ahead and plant them in your garden. As long as you have 4 to 6 months before your first frost date, then you can go ahead and plant them, wait for the 4 to 6 months to pass, and then dig them up, and you should get yourself some nice sweet potatoes. Now, I will be providing you guys with an update on the sweet potatoes that I've grown from these slips that you saw in this video, so stay tuned for future episodes, and we'll go ahead and show you the progress. Well, there you have it, everyone. That's my quick tip on how you can turn sweet potato eyes or regular potato eyes into slips, and then use the slips after they root, put them in the ground, and within 4 to 6 months, get yourself a whole bunch more potatoes. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy gardening, and thanks for watching.